No, my lawyer said I can't be Stevie Nicks. I'm just a generic, non-specific look-alike.
Kind of sort of live from the generic, non-specific Stevie Nicks Podcast Bureau in Lisbon, Portugal.
And live from our Texas Bureau.
And by Texas Bureau, he means his house.
And by European Bureau, he means an Airbnb. It's the generic, non-specific Stevie Nicks podcast. Anthony, why
Hi,
are
Randy.
you in Lisbon, Portugal?
Why am I?
Yeah, why?
We're in a little trip. We're having a little fun. We're having an adventure.
And educating the masses about our goddess and savior.
We're going to be establishing, working with Chi and friends, establishing 90,000 Stevies Europe. I have talked to many Portuguese people while I've been here, and even playing dreams. They don't know what Fleetwood Mac or Stevie Nicks is.
So you're spreading the gospel.
I am. It's very religious here. Our first hotel used to be a monastery. It was gorgeous, work of art. But yes, I have found my calling is spreading the word of Stevie throughout Europe. La 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 la.
La 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 la.
La 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 la.
Amen. Speaking of spreading the gospel, I want to talk to you today about some very specific, not non-specific, but very specific Stevie Nicks things that have happened to you in the last few months that we've kind of alluded to. But as we've talked to our listeners and viewers about, you had a poem published in the White-Winged Doves anthology.
I did, which I think is officially out as of yesterday, right?
It is. It is officially on sale now, and I want to congratulate you again on that.
Thank you, Randy.
You're very welcome.
Just to tell everybody, so you go ahead. I'm being interviewed today. I'm just a guest, so I'm not going to be
Yes, today, Anthony is the guest. And so I want to take everybody on a journey through your life as a poet and how it culminated at Night of 1,000 Stevies and the publication of this book. So, the poem that was published, and then of course the Silver Springs poem, which we'll get to later, were both specifically about Stevie. But when did you discover that you enjoyed writing poetry, or what? Do you remember the first poem you wrote, or what kind of put you into the mindset of like, hey, I can do this?
Well, I started writing poetry in high school, I would say. Yeah. I had an English teacher who I've tried to find, and I bet she's passed on by now, Christina Marianca. I went to a very, very unusual high school. I'm going to put a link to an article about it. I'm not going to try to describe it here because it'll take too long. But basically, I say that because she was my homeroom teacher one year, but like all the 4 years in high school, she used to constantly say to me, "You are such a good writer." And I was like, no, whatever. I'm a writer. Everybody writes essays for school, whatever. She would, when I wasn't around, go into my homeroom and go into, this sounds awful, but I appreciate it. Go into my school book bag and take things like a comic book and say, "I'm not giving it back until you write me a poem."
I never knew this. You never told me this.
Yeah. So she would do that pretty often. I wrote a 3-page short story about a duck.
About what?
A duck. I'm just making it up.
Okay.
But it's like she would give me a prompt and take my thing, and I couldn't have it back. And don't laugh, viewers and listeners, but one of the things she stole once was a hairbrush, which I needed back then. Right now, I'll be like, hey, you're not getting anything.
Right.
So that kind of just set me on this little, where I just write something for my own fun,
Mm-hmm.
And so it was in high school when Rumors was released. I've said on the podcast before, Randy knows, one of my other homeroom teachers had a party at his house, him and his wife hosted the whole class, the homeroom. They had a pool, and we went over. Our parents were there and everything. So it wasn't, even though those two were hippies, it wasn't like that, you know. And
Right.
there was like a raffle, and I won a copy of Rumors at the raffle. And I had heard Rhiannon on the radio, not Rumors. I'm sorry, the White Album, because Rhiannon, I had heard that on the radio, but I didn't know it. I didn't
Right.
know what that name was, even though I would sing along with it. I didn't know what I was saying. And we've had this conversation that I'm looking at the photo on the back, and that must be Lindsay, that pretty
Right.
younger girl, and Stevie must be the guy with the afro.
Yeah.
And so that kind of gave me a flavor that I injected into my writing that wasn't there before.
Okay.
It was, but let's say enhanced it.
So when you say it gave a new flavor to your writing, does that mean you actually, so when you got this album and were you actually like looking at the inner sleeve and reading the lyrics and the actual structure of her songwriting,
It
or
was
was it
more
just
like,
kind of just the vibe and the atmosphere kind of influenced you?
whoa, this is about to get deep. Um, like I hadn't had a romantic relationship yet,
Okay.
you know. So if it's 1977-ish, I'm about 14, 15, and
Okay.
I wanted to have one. I didn't know
Right.
why I wasn't having one. I didn't know why I wasn't dating girls, but I had this like longing for that kind of feeling. And I always laugh when I see like a 17 or 18-year-old say, like in social media, I'm just getting out of a long relationship. I'm like, you're 18, you did
Yeah.
not. But I saw other people dating, but I didn't date. And I don't know if I thought something was wrong with me or not. But a lot of the things I would start to write were about longing for a relationship, for love, not for
Okay.
romance, unrequited love, romantic love, and how it would make life better. And that's kind of what I'm saying when I say injected it. I kind of saw that stuff in some of those songs, of course, because it's all about breaking up and calling
Sure.
Steve a hooker
Sure.
and Lindsay's songs and all. So that's what I mean. And then her style, right? The whole, I don't want to call it the words that people normally use because it's so cliche and it's not even deserved sometimes. Like, but I see it as ultra romantic.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a little mystical part to it, but Stevie's not a witch. We're not
Hmm.
talking about that stuff. But yeah, that's there.
Hmm.
And then, I'm not going to say there wasn't some darkness in me as a teenager because
Sure.
yeah, hormones. But
I
yeah,
mean,
that too.
every teenager is a little goth, whether they admit it or not, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I started writing things that were reminiscent of that, but not exclusively. But yeah, I did a lot. And I think you've seen some of it over the years.
Oh
What's
yeah.
the first poem? I could not tell you to save my life.
Well, no, but that's actually pretty good, and that nice little segue there because where I remember like being exposed to your poetry was when we were pen pals and we were actually like writing letters, and you sent me, I think, one poem in a letter, and it was very, it was very unrequited love, and and I was about 17 or 18 at that time as well. So inner goth was there, the unrequited love thing was there. I mean, it was all like, so those poems were really speaking to me because of that. And then of course the Stevie connection. And so I remember I would just beg you, please send me another poem, please send me another poem. You would just send
You
me.
weren't stealing my comic books. That's why you didn't
Yes,
get it.
I was nice about it. I was like,
Yeah.
please, just I wouldn't. And to this day I don't know, and you may not know either, but how many of those were poems that you had written like months and years prior that you still had, and how many of them
It
were
was a
like,
mix. It was a mix. Some were
yeah,
a couple of years, some were like 5 minutes ago.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and I still have a lot of them, by the way. Still have a lot of them.
me
Uh,
too. At the
Good.
handwritten, I found this recent, not that long ago. It was in 2025. I found this like journal kind of book with so many of them in them, like the first rough draft, and stuff like that, and
Hmm.
scratches out and all that. So
Um, so when did your writing kind of taper off? Where you kind
before
of
we go there, there's one other part of the writing that you know all about
okay.
that others don't know about is I loved writing parody songs.
Oh my God, yes.
I of course knew of like Weird Al very young, like
Hmm.
you know, back in the old days on FM radio on Sunday, there was a program called the Dr. Demento Show, which you can Google
Oh my
it.
God.
I think it
Shout
might
out to
still
Dr.
exist, right?
Demento.
Right. And so he played all parody songs,
Yeah.
songs that made fun. They were based on the lyric structure and the music of another song, making fun of it, right?
Yep.
And I I started doing that because I found it to be like a puzzle.
Hmm.
Like you could finish it, you could crack a puzzle by picking a song, turning it into something else, writing lyrics that match the cadence exactly, and singing it to the same exact tune. But now it's about something either totally absurd or a weird twist on the original topic, you know? And so I did a lot of that as well. And to amuse myself.
Yeah. Uh, so I know mostly the parody songs that we talk about are the parodies to Stevie songs, and I still think we need to do an entire episode about that because like
There's so many, and I think you also know that those I don't have documented that well.
right,
But once in a while, a song will come on the radio, an old song, and I'll just realize I'm singing my lyrics
right.
to it, like the Go-Go's. Let's beat some seals. Let's beat some seals. Let's be on there.
In Poughkeepsie,
That's right.
there's a drain.
I'm sorry. My version, my parody of Michael Jackson's "Beat It" is superior to Al Yankovic's. No, I won't reheat it. Eat it. No, see.
I love it. I love it. Well, that was my next question is how how many parody or what was the balance of did you start with just doing Stevie songs and then
No, I
gravitate
did
to
not.
others,
I
or
did
you
not.
just
I
like
think I did others.
wherever inspiration
Yeah,
hit?
I did others at first. I think I know there's something to Devo's "Whip It" out there. I'd have to really think on it. And I think the other big one for me was uh, Whitney Houston's song. Is it called "I Have Nothing"? Is
I
that the
have
title?
nothing. Yes,
Yeah.
I still sing that one all the
So
time.
the topic of that was unrequited love because this was
Yes,
based on a real thing for the audience, for viewers and listeners. When I would have my um, breakup of the week, or maybe every other week, I wasn't as bad as a week, but every other week or so, I would meet a new guy who was the guy who I would be in love for the rest of my life. And then if we would break up, and I would be all sad and mopey, I would bake.
hmm.
I would go into the kitchen and bake pies and cakes, muffins, and so
You
to
baked
Whitney Houston.
muffins,
That's what.
muffins,
That's right. So Whitney
muffins.
Houston's song became "I make muffins, muffins, muffins. If I
Did
can't
you
have you,
did you also prepare some eclairs?
don't make me close the oven door. I don't want to bake anymore. Something, something, something in my mind, if you dare. Or must I prepare some eclairs?
So, so your writing was not reserved exclusively to really heavy, intense poetry.
No,
You did
I'm
a lot of
ready.
humor.
True, and I'm realizing there's something you might not know is that I started these in high school, but I kept doing them while I was in my first year of college before I dropped out. Two different comic strips.
Yeah, that's right. No, you did tell me about that. I had
Okay,
forgotten,
and
but
I
yeah.
still have them I still have all those loose leaf pages of like, one piece of paper, 6 to 8 panel comic strips. The art is horrendous. We're talking all, 2/10 of a degree up from stick figures,
Right.
and so
But
those were all fun and funny,
yeah.
silly, you know.
So did you ever do anything since, I mean, the natural progression for me would have been, did you do anything that resembled a comic book with superheroes?
No, these were more like the Sunday funnies.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And
Okay.
again, not an artist and no potential to become one. You know what?
Right.
When I get home, I'm gonna dig them out. I'm
I
gonna
think you
see if
should.
just
Yeah.
take a couple pictures of a couple of them. And I will say, especially the one I started in high school, dark. I'm gonna be like, oh my God, I wrote that, I need help. But yeah, we'll dig some up and see if we can put them up somewhere, a couple just to show the
Okay.
world. And again, I did them for me. No one else read them. No one else
Yeah.
saw them. You know,
So you
it
didn't feel
never
the need to
occurred to me.
share them at all.
Say it again.
You did not feel the need to share them with anybody
No,
once
just
they were
was doing it
completed.
right. I was just doing it for fun.
See, that's where we differ because anytime I create something, I'm like, look what I did.
It was
Um,
like I did it. Yay, I achieved. That's all. And
mhm.
if anybody thinks it's good, okay. Anybody
Yeah,
thinks it's bad, okay. But I didn't care because the act of doing it was what was
the
gave
act
me
of
the
creation.
joy.
Hmm. All right, so we've done poetry, we've done song lyrics, parody lyrics. We're doing comic strips. So you've got quite a little writing
Yeah.
journey.
Who knew?
When did that?
Dr. Ham. Thank you,
Right.
Dr. Ham. I'm afraid
Who?
of what's coming.
I know because what when did you start? When did that start ebbing where you weren't doing it as much?
When I went back to college,
Okay.
I think it was just a function of not having as much time,
Right.
you
Right.
know. Though I do remember very well a creative writing class, and the teacher was like, "You are such an excellent writer." And I thought back, and I was like, "Wow!" And she didn't even steal any of my personal items, you know.
Okay. Okay. Well, so that kind of takes us through um, what made you start back up.
You know the answer. You did.
Me, but our listeners don't.
Oh,
Our viewers don't. I know
this
the answer to that.
incredible person, Randall Ham, said to
Yeah.
me now, Randy, you help me because the details kind of mushed together. Did
Okay.
you see the call to action
Hmm.
for the anthology first, or did
I
I?
did, but
You
before
did.
that, about 4 to 6 months before I saw that call, you and I
Okay.
were talking on the phone one Saturday, as we often do, and we were. I think it was when we started scanning all of our letters to put them into a Google Drive so that we had all of them
Okay.
a for a project that we will be announcing at some future date.
Plus,
Yes. But as we're talking about that, and I was rereading your poetry, I asked you, I said, why don't you write poetry anymore? And we had a little discussion about that.
and I said, I don't know.
Right.
And you said,
And
you should try.
yes, I was like, go write something.
And I was
Um,
like, okay,
right.
there's one more. Let's just put a pin in that for 1 second.
Okay.
I think that also, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, there was one other writing thing that I did throughout my life.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies and gentlemen, your boy can write a eulogy.
Yes.
And I write them in almost a poetic style that
Mm-hmm.
I have been asked so many times to like, hey, you met my cousin Myrtle once in 1974. Would you come to her funeral and write a eulogy for her? Like, because I became known for them in my family and my community. And, so I was getting invited just to come to funerals, just to write something nice about people and then stand up there and say it. So I had done that kind of right before we had that conversation.
That's right. That's right.
And I can't remember, was it my Aunt Rose or I think it was my
I
Aunt
think
Rose.
it was your, yeah.
Yeah. And I shared that with you. And
Yes.
I think that
Yeah.
was part, and you're like probably thinking, why do you only write when someone dies? You
Right. Right.
know?
It's quite the unique skill set there to but you should make sure that's on your CV. Professional eulogy writer.
There you go. But I
Uh,
have to know you. I can't write about you if I haven't actually. And it's
but
real. I don't make stuff up. I don't
right.
lionize someone. I have to have that germ of,
Yes.
what I really admired about you to make it work.
Yes. So, cut to about 3 to 4 months later after we've had that discussion, and I see the call for poetry for this Stevie Nicks poetry anthology.
And I had already written one, right?
No,
I
no,
hadn't. I thought I had
no.
written one, but not the other.
Of
Okay.
the two that you submitted, you wrote both of those
After?
after the
Okay.
submission.
Okay.
I don't know. You might have written some stuff before that, but the two that we're going to talk about were written afterwards because you were kind of down to the wire on the submissions, as all writers
Right. I
are.
had like 4 days or something when
Right,
I found out.
right.
Yeah.
And I kept pestering you. I sent it to you, and I was like, you should do this, and you're like, yes, I should. And then every 2 or 3 weeks, I'm like, how's the poem going? How's the poem going? Which one do you remember? Which one you wrote first?
I believe I wrote 5 notes first.
Okay,
I believe
so
it. And I wrote them both in like the matter of a day and a half or two, I think.
right. So talk to me about 5 notes and the genesis of that poem and yeah, just talk about it.
Okay. 5 notes uh, for our viewers and listeners is sort of kind of about the first time I became aware of Stevie Nicks' solo music. Again, I had the Fleetwood Mac stuff. I didn't know who this woman was. I wasn't like, I was a fan, but I wasn't a fan of Stevie Nicks. I didn't know I didn't have a sense of her style. I knew I liked those Fleetwood Mac songs in particular. But again, is that Lindsay? Who is that, right?
Right.
So I was, as I had said earlier, I was in my first year of college before I dropped out, and I was in a cafeteria during the first term, and got my backpack, and I'm balancing a tray, and I got yogurt on it and whatever, and I'm going up to the cashier, and there's like a music system, and this cafeteria had like 18 to 24-foot ceilings, and so the speakers were in the ceiling, and I'm at the cashier, and I literally heard the opening to the song Belladonna.
And how
Bum,
many
bum,
notes was
bum,
that?
bum, bum. And it
Mhm.
just, I remember I looked up at the speaker, 5 notes. I looked up at the speaker, and I'm like trying not to shush the cashiers. I'm like throwing my money at her, getting my change. And then I looked around for a table by looking for a speaker that was over an empty table. And I literally, like, the floor is hot lava, like, walked from speaker to speaker as fast as I could so I could hear this song. And then I sat there, and then the song finished. Then I ate, and then I remember I had one more class. I went to the class, and afterward, I took a bus into Center City, Philadelphia, and I went to like 3 record stores. Like, okay, everybody, we're talking 1981. There's no
Hmm.
internet.
Nope.
You know, I had nothing. I listened hard. The DJ never said, and that's a song by Stevie Nicks from her solo album. There was none of that. So I'm like, I need to know what that song is so I can buy it. So I'm in the record store. I was like, bum, 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 high atop your pony, like whatever I could remember.
Right.
And I
And
remembered, oh, Belladonna. He's like,
yeah.
one guy, third store was like, I think I know what that is here. And then I saw the cover, and I was like, hooked.
Right.
I ran home. I listened to it. I got this, whatever the first single was, I got it. I got every single, even though they're all now, listen
Yeah.
to the B-sides. Um, went home, listened to it over and over and over. Again, times were different back then. A lot of families, you know, my parents, I and yeah, my older brother and sister were out of the house, but my younger brother and I were there. But there's only one stereo to play a vinyl
Yeah.
record in the living room. So you couldn't just go play your music. We were not we can afford to have a turntable in your room kind of family.
Right.
Know? So I wore that record out. My parents probably were, my brother, like, oh my God, I hear that one more time, you know?
Yeah.
And then from there, I was like, oh, that's the same person that sings Rhiannon, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
Yeah. And I tried to find, and I forget, I think whenever I call you friend was out by then.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So somehow I tracked that down on vinyl, you know, and everything I could that existed, you know, and from then I became one of those people that haunted the record store like every week. Because again, knowing when someone was putting out a new album was not like today.
It was not.
You know?
And now, when you were in the record stores, did they have like the big, thick printed book where you could look up artists by name and then it would list everything that they had?
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Maybe it was there, but I just went to the F bin for
Right.
Fleetwood Mac, and I don't even know how I became aware of some of the soundtrack stuff and other stuff. Because you know, just flipping through things and hearing them and all. So I wrote that poem, I mean, about that experience. And it sounds so crazy, but trite or dumb, but it changed me. I didn't feel alone. Right? I didn't feel like my thoughts and feelings about romance were that weird, you know? Someone gets me. Not the only one. Some togetherness. And it helped me, you know, the longing I felt wasn't bizarre. It's human, you know. Also, like you said earlier, you know, everyone's a little goth. I don't know if everyone is, but I was, you know, it's a very dramatic young man in every way. And no, you're not. That's how that record made me feel. No, you're not.
Well, let's stick a pin in that feeling of isolation and how this song helped you not feel so alone and that there were other like-minded people out there. And then you wrote another poem as well called Carolyn Brooks.
Carolyn Brooks.
So tell me all about it.
Okay, so this is all news for you, Randy. So for viewers and listeners, if you don't know, Carolyn Brooks is a backup singer who was on a way smaller number of tracks than Sharon Solani and Lori Hicks, who you all know probably by name and face, maybe. And Randy and I, 2016, right year?
2016.
We've known each other for 35 years or so.
Redacted. We're going to do a little redacted across that.
And 2016 was we've hung out, we've been together, you know, there's a lot of story there, but 2016 was the first time we ever went to a Stevie Nicks concert. Yeah.
Yes.
And we went to the concert, we had a lovely time, and in between the opening act, the Pretenders, who were amazing, and the main act, Miss Stephanie Lynn Nicks, I had to go to the bathroom. And when I come back, Randy's standing there, and Lori Nicks is like right next to him, and yet he's not combusting and throwing.
I'm practically in tears.
Right, but your head was still attached to your body, which was very shocking.
It was.
You know? And Lori's leaning over our seats to talk to people.
Yes.
And I come back and I said something. I can't tell you what I said to Randy, but I think Randy was like, "Don't you talk to her, don't bother her," because I didn't know that she had said, "Just give me a minute" or whatever. I wasn't there when she was interacting.
Right.
And you were like, "Don't bother her or I'll kill you," or something. Something a little more gentle than that, but
not much.
And then she left, and she gave us a moment, and we fanboyed so bad that I don't think she heard a word we said.
Mm-mm. It
And
was
blah,
it
blah,
was
blah,
verbal
blah, blah.
diarrhea. You know,
Yeah.
there was no punctuation, there was no breathing.
But the people behind us understood the story we were telling. And one of the gentlemen said to
Oh,
Randy and I,
wait. I'm going to
okay,
contradict you a minute because
okay.
we talked to Lori and then the show started. And all of what you're
Oh, it
about to
was at
say
the
happened at
end,
the end of the
at the end
show,
of the night.
which is
That's right.
important.
Yes. And the gentleman said to Randy, that's so cool. He's like, I bet you don't know who this is. Said to both of us, I bet you don't know who this is. And Randy turned and said, why, you're Carolyn Brooks. And you could have knocked her over with a feather, not even a whole feather, you
Right.
know, a piece of a cotton ball, you
Right.
know. And then he started, you sang on this song on that album, and oh, you were great, and blah blah blah. And my opinion, Randy, and I don't know how well we discussed this, was I think you just made her life, that she felt like I'm not just a footnote,
Yeah.
you know,
Hmm. Yep. And I
and
remember
she
because she had on a jaunty little beret. Do you remember that? She had
right,
on a jaunty little beret. And yeah, she was so,
and she was in a wheelchair,
yes, and she was so
and
touched.
seeing her hair peeking out of her little hat, I wondered if she was like ill,
Hmm.
like ill, if you know what I mean. But I don't know that, so audience. So she was just so appreciative. And then we told our story again, like a lot less
A
verbal
lot
diarrhea.
calmly, a lot more
Yeah.
calm, with punctuation and breathing, almost
And
visual aids. If we had had the comic book, we just need to
you
start.
turn around with a clicker, and the big screen behind Stevie starts showing a PowerPoint up.
Right.
Yeah. So they were so touched that I forget if Carolyn said it only, or only her brother said it, or both, but they were like, that is so beautiful. We wish we could give you our backstage passes.
Yes.
But they weren't
Yes.
going to give us their backstage
They were not.
passes.
They were not.
So who said it? I think it was the gentleman that said, do you have anything you want us to tell her?
Right. Yes. That's right. And you answered.
I grabbed Randy's hand,
Hmm.
and what you read in the poem Carolyn Brooks is almost, is very directly what we said. She had recently given an interview where she did express regret for not having children in a way, but
Yeah.
not a oh my God regret, but I kind of sometimes think about this. And so I said, tell her no regrets, because her children are right here.
Hmm.
These
That's
two
right.
little gay boys found each other because of her. And we're doing great. And we're so appreciative, and all. I couldn't even tell you. I don't know what you can remember, but how much we appreciated it. And please just let her know not to. She did good.
Mhm.
She raised us, and she brought us together, and she made us the people we are, to a degree.
That's right. And they were so sweet. And right after, just almost immediately after that, they were ushered backstage.
Right.
And you and I hung out in the in AT&T Stadium until they kicked us out
We were just
because
waiting for Stevie to come running
right,
through the door,
somebody
going,
was
"It's
going to
such a beautiful
come out and say,
story." Yeah,
come back here. She heard your story. She wants to meet you." And that did not happen, listeners. Um,
but it should have.
but it should
But
have.
if you know Stevie, we're
Right.
we're our DMs are open.
That's right.
Yeah.
They are. Um, so that was the second poem. That was Carolyn
So
Brooks.
yeah,
And
so Carolyn Brooks was written about that experience. It's pretty straightforward, but there's a little bit more to it
hmm
in terms of the imagery and the. But that so I don't know if you're going. So that poem was not selected for the anthology.
right.
I think you're going there.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So you wrote those two poems. You submitted both of them, and Five Notes was selected for
But
the anthology. And so while this is happening, you and I are already talking to the Night of a Thousand Stevies people about doing podcast episodes about Night of a Thousand Stevies. So these two things are happening concurrently, and as we talk to Chi Chi about that, you had the great idea of submitting yourself reading your poem and asking to be, like basically auditioning to be a performer at Night of a
Right.
Thousand Stevies. And she said yes. Not only did she say yes, but you were slotted like almost immediately after the opening of the show. You
Yeah,
you were basically part of the opening act
yeah.
of the show. So
She did the introduction to the audience with her little owl puppet. And then a little Jessica Starr did her amazing, go watch that episode 2 episodes ago, I think,
yeah,
folks, where she did the almost exact replica of the 1982 Sisters of the Moon Talking in Tongues, which brought the house down. And then your boy walked out and read a poem.
so
Spoken
I'm
word.
going to
I didn't
remove
read it,
that.
I had memorized it. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm going to remove that pin that we just stuck in a few minutes ago because
Okay.
what just happened is you wrote this. First of all, which poem did you read?
I read Five Notes. No,
No,
I read Carolyn
you
Brooks
did read Carolyn
because
Brooks.
I guess I don't know what the hell. I really thought they were going to accept both of them. I was
I
so
did too.
like cocky. But when they notified me we've accepted Five Notes and not Carolyn Brooks, I was like, what the actual hell?
Yes,
But I mean, yeah, it's subjective, but that poem
sure.
just means so much to me, you know.
Me too. I mean, I do. I think we're both biased because it's, to me as a con, as not being the author of the poem, but being a consumer of the poem and having, but having it be emotionally, it resonated with me for obvious reasons. It encapsulated a special moment in our friendship, and so I thought everybody who read that was going to see that. And
I thought the
but
whole analogy that ran through it that it,
yeah,
tied, you know, Stevie preaching to the
oh
congregation,
yeah,
leading us in
right,
revival, and
yes,
all those kinds of. I just thought that was going to knock it out of the box with,
I did too.
but
I
the
did too.
editors saw something else in Five
Right,
Notes that resonated more widely. I assume.
sure, and that makes sense too,
Yeah,
and because they're both. I don't want to short Five Notes because it's a beautiful poem too, and I'm so happy that it's in the anthology.
absolutely. I'm so proud of that, and I'm so
Yeah.
thankful it was selected.
But, Five Notes is about this, as you said, it's the first time you felt this connection of like you are not alone. That there are like-minded people out there that think the same way you do. Specifically in the poem, it's the connection between you and Stevie.
Yeah, but it ends with the idea that I now know that I'm going to find my way, that there is a future, that there's something more there. And that's why they're almost like a part one and two, right?
They are. They are.
Yeah. Even though I didn't intend it that. I mean, I absolutely intended it.
So now you're on stage looking out at a sea of chiffon and tambourines
Don't forget the tambourines and top hats
and top
galore.
hats
I couldn't
galore.
see a damn thing. I could.
Yes,
There
but
was
you
one really
knew
tall, head
from the,
shaving guy I could see. Everybody else, I was just like,
but you could hear.
I could hear. Yeah.
So talk me through the how much of the actual experience of reading that in that space with those people, what that was like for you.
I I remember that Jessica Starr was ending up, and then I heard uh, Chi Day having like a little moment with her.
Yeah.
And I'm in the back room off stage right. Is that stage right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I won't name drop. There were like notable people in that room who everyone
Yes,
would
there
know their
were.
names. And no one's talking to me. They're looking at me, but I was, it's weird. So, and then I was introduced really quickly to the person who was going to be introducing me on stage. And then that person walked out and did the introduction. And I was like standing there on the first step up to the 4 steps up to the stage. And I was like, I'm going to forget every single. What is the first line? Why can't I remember the first line? And then I heard my name, and here I came. And I stopped and I said, thank you so much to her. I walked over to the microphone, and then it just started to pour out, And after let me see, I'm rerunning the lines in my head. After like the third line, I could feel and see and hear the audience responding.
Yeah.
Already. And that was just like, it's not like I was hyped up. It's not like I was like, yeah, look at me doing good. It was more like, I don't know, like this moment of arriving, of again, feeling I'm not alone. And, other people feel like the same kinds of ways and things that I do. And from there, I just felt so like now I had a duty to do a really good job.
Right. Yeah.
And go ahead. You have a
No, I was
word?
just going to say they were along for the ride. You
Yeah.
had them in the palm of your hands. And just for the record, Chi Chi mentioned this was the first time they'd had spoken word at Night of a Thousand Stevies in like 10, 15 years or something. It had been a long, long time
And
since they
I've never done that before. I've never read one of my poems other than a eulogy where I know most of the people there and everything. I've never
hmm
done it like as part of an event like that. And I remember when I said the line, which refers to you in Dallas. Yes, ma'am, my friend knows every single word to every single song. And the crowd just ate that up
They
because they could
did.
relate to that.
Yeah.
They cheered, and I just burst out this. I hate the video in a little bit because I burst out in this big goofy grin because it was like, the energy was going like this between us.
There was nothing goofy about it at all.
Uh,
There really wasn't.
but
Um,
since you asked nicely, we'll sit down for this one slow number. They ate that up, and
yes.
I loved it because I thought there were places they would cheer and they just were silent
Right.
because they were listening. But
Yes.
and then there were places where they cheered, but we're like, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So it was fun. It wasn't I was disappointed. It was just like, oh wow. I couldn't predict that.
Yeah, you never can really predict what an audience is going to respond to. You can plan it in your head and things
Yeah.
are going to unfold in a certain way, but they almost never do. I can tell you
And
from
go ahead. You
No,
wouldn't
I was just gonna say I can tell you from like where what my vantage point was because me and your husband, we all had press passes, so we were allowed up into the photographer like bullpen, which is like right there at the stage, and so there's the stage, and then there's this row that only photographers are allowed in, and then the general audience behind us. So we were like right there and you were right in front of us. So it was almost like we had a private audience, except that we could hear and feel the crowd behind us. So it was kind of the best of both worlds. And it was such a great place to experience that.
I hadn't asked you. I think that there was probably more crowd reaction than I could hear also because
Yeah.
the musical director, Johnny Dynell of Night of a Thousand Stevies, had made the suggestion to have some background music,
hmm
very low under me. And during the dress rehearsal, I couldn't even hear it.
Yeah.
During the actual performance, I could. And so it
Right.
kept me from hearing what was going on around me
Yeah.
a little bit. So, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, even in the recordings you've seen on the internet, I can't tell. I had a sense there was a little more audience reaction that I actually heard, but I don't know from your perspective if you heard that. Like, was it throughout or just at points? Like, I know it was at that point with the My Friend Knows Every Lyric. And then the other one I remember, and you could be standing in it, got a big reaction to.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
Yes, it did. Also, the point in the poem where you say all of her children that she called home, like that, really got the audience.
Thank you, audience.
Yeah, it was great.
So, you saw that Randy was there for the dress rehearsal.
Hmm.
And I was nervous because they had to teach me to remember to keep proximity to the
Right,
microphone,
right. To be like, yeah,
which I
yes.
screwed up during the live one at the very, very beginning, and I think. Um, but then when the dress rehearsal sound check was over, the stage manager grabbed me and said, "You gave me goosebumps. I'm not
Uh-huh.
supposed to be feeling things during sound check."
She was great.
Oh, that's the highest compliment I've ever received in my entire life. Thank you.
Right.
I love I loved her so much. Yeah,
I,
Lori
I do
is
too. I think
amazing.
one of the
Highlight
neat
of the
things
trip.
about us doing Night of a Thousand Seas and the things that happened to us was running into her outside Irving Plaza before we went in for sound check like
Right. We
that.
went for a selfie because it said Night of a Thousand Stevies on the, what is it, the marquee.
Yeah.
And we get there, there's a person there, and we started talking, have a conversation, and it's her.
Yeah. And it's the stage manager, right? And we have this
Right.
great, wonderful conversation. And so we immediately have a bond with her before we've ever even
Right.
walked into
Right.
the plaza.
It was
Uh,
terrific.
everybody on that Night of a Thousand Stevies crew was just phenomenal and so welcoming
Yeah.
and
And we met our two new nieces,
yes, we did. Wait, who are our two new nieces?
Oreo Nose and
Okay, that we
Fisher.
interviewed. Yes, okay,
Yes. I love
yes.
them. I'm a gunkle times two more.
Right? Oh my
Plus two
God.
more. Yeah.
Everybody was just amazing. It was just wonderful.
And it was such a surreal experience once I was done and I left the stage and I walked down to kind of find you guys
Hmm.
because you were right in front of me, you and your husband Tom and Nick, but I didn't know it. Like I
Yeah.
said, I could see one person clearly from up there. So I'm trying to find you. And as I'm walking through the crowd, people are like, "Oh, I love your podcast. Oh, you're so good up on stage." And I'm like, it's so weird. I get why, Chapel Roan doesn't want to be famous.
No, I still don't get
I
that.
don't get it. I'm kidding.
But yeah, it was that was another thing that was really nice about being there. And I know we're digressing a little bit, but that so many people would come up and talk to us about the podcast. And that happened all night, all the way till the very, very end of the night. We would continue to hear from people. But so
So
what
you didn't say it yet, but Carolyn Brooks is my Silver Spring.
it is, Carolyn Brooks is Anthony Silver Springs.
You could be my Carolyn Brooks. Uh-oh, parody songs
Look,
coming.
parody lyrics. Look at that parody lyric.
And bags.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do a parody episode.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
so now that you've had that experience and the book is out, and we did an interview with the editors, which will be the next episode after this. Um, what what do you think is going to happen with your writing journey?
I don't know. Hmm. I don't know. I mean, there's a there's some changes coming in my life that I don't want to talk about right now. But
Is it menopause?
no, it's
Okay.
perimenopause.
It's perimenopause.
If you get that joke, ladies and gentlemen,
Right.
please comment because you're going to get a gold star and a pumpkin sticker.
That's right.
But yeah, maybe it will. I don't know. I do, again, there's Randy mentioned some things are coming. Randy also encouraged me. This was actually, I don't know how many years ago now,
This
to
was
write
back
a
during
short story.
Yes, this was back during COVID. Randy had
Yeah,
a really great idea, which I'm also not going to talk about too much right now
right.
because I'm trying to revive it. But this was going to be my COVID project, and for various reasons, it all fell apart.
Right.
But you were the first person I approached about writing a
And
short story.
I wrote that story. I've shared it with Randy. I've shared it with maybe two or three other people. I'm very proud of it.
It's a good
And
story.
all the feedback I'm getting, and we can go this far to say it's Stevie Nicks related, the story.
Yep. Hmm.
And non-Stevie Nicks folks, three of them have been like, I need you to write this book.
Hmm.
So and then I wrote a follow-up short story. Now it's a universe in my head. So maybe I'll expand on that a little.
Okay. And poetry? Any new poems?
No, not recently, but well, there's one, but I won't talk about that one yet. You've read it.
I have read it, which
Yes.
we need to have some more discussions about because
Yeah.
I've read it several times now, and I keep reading it and then letting it sit for a while, and then going back to it and then letting it sit for a while.
Yeah. So I
It's
think
it's a
there's a
very I will say this, and I will say this on record because it's very different than anything else that you've ever written, and it's got many more layers than you than I probably am
see, I have
accustomed to.
layers.
You do have layers. You do have layers.
I'm not a one-trick pony.
You are not a one trick pony. But yeah, okay. Well,
So I do think there's a floodgate that will be open.
well, I think since you are now in Lisbon, Portugal, and
Lisboa, as the locals say.
Lisboa,
Lisboa. Yes. And today I went to Cascais.
you went to what?
It's a seaside city, Cascais. Cascais? Yeah. It was beautiful.
So you now have the opportunity to write your own Italian summer, but you write Portuguese summer.
Portuguese summer. There you go.
Oh.
Cascais. I've been Alcobaça. I'm putting the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable on all these towns. So,
Well, I
wait, I'm
hope
going to try to say it right. Barrio. There you go.
Fabio.
And there.
I really hope that that this has number one, this has inspired you to continue to write. I hope that your visit to Portugal is also inspiring you in terms of subject matter.
That's what I mean. It's 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 putting a different framing and focus on all the things I always think about being here. But it's you know what I mean? I don't know
Yeah,
how to explain it.
no, I do.
And then, you know, the Night of the Cells and Stevie's people did invite me to come back next year and perform again if I would like to.
Yes.
And of course, Randy's telling everyone I said yes already.
Right. Well, I have already decided Anthony may need some convincing, but we're going to be doing live from the purple carpet every year. So,
Oh,
um,
yes, but Randy's gonna come steal something from my house, probably. You're not getting it back till you write a poem for Night of a Thousand.
that's yeah, pretty much what's
Randy,
gonna
I
happen.
can't find Nick anywhere.
I don't know.
That's my
I don't
husband,
know.
everybody, Nick.
Get to writing.
I haven't seen him before.
Right, right, right. Well, this was actually really fun to talk to you about this. We've
And
been wanting to do it for a long time.
I think it's sweet, and I'll thank the audience for indulging me. I feel like Why the hell am I talking and being interviewed? But I appreciate Randy
No.
wanting to do it.
Yeah, you had some significant accomplishments, and I'm very proud of you for them. And it's a natural extension of what we're doing here with this podcast, but also our friendship. So,
And in the middle of the room, they just had shoes and things.
hey, what color is that wall behind you?
Off-white.
Yes. Okay.
I don't like bone,
You don't like bone? All right.
but I love some accessories.
You like some accessories?
Handbags.
Our poor
Okay.
listeners, we need to tell them what that's all
Yeah, if you
about.
understand what's going on here, please let us know in the
Right.
comments.
Right.
And also like, share, tell your grandma,
Like, share, and subscribe. Check out
subscribe,
our
click a
previous.
thumbs up or a heart, whatever.
Yep. Check out our previous episodes. We just did one with Annie Zaleski, the author of Stevie Nicks
Sounds
in
fun.
50 Songs. We're about to, after this, we'll post the interview with the editors for White Winged Doves. We're just having a really good time with this, but it is time for Anthony to get back to his Portuguese adventure. So, Anthony, until next time.
I tried to learn how to say this in Portuguese and I can't pronounce it correctly. We'll see you on the other side of the mirror.
Well, all right, said Alice. Thanks, folks.